Hi everyone, it's been a long time since I posted anything. June 7, 2015 was part 12 of my Studebaker truck build. I've had a lot of things going on over that time. Wound up proceedings in a court case, so that took a lot of my time up last year. That's why you got the last video in June 7. Basically been working my ass off all year to pay the lawyers and haven't had much time to do anything on the truck. I've walked past it a few times, taken a few notes, looked at a couple of the things that I needed to get, and I've moved it out of the garage from where it used to be. I've had to do a little bit of car swapping. I've built another extension off my garage, another 4 metre by 6 metre extension, which will now house one of my other classic cars, which is sat under a carport for way too long, and that's now in the garage. The Studebaker's out under the carport, and the garage is yet to be finished. The concreters come and measure up the other day for all the concrete floor. Just waiting on them to get back to me. Once they pour that, then I can get the front doors on and start moving cabinets and benches and all sorts of stuff around in there to suit. So in the interim, 3.5 weeks ago I had a shoulder reconstruction, as you can probably see. I can't do nothing. I've got 3 months off work to recover. It's a pretty full-on operation, this one, and I only have the use of one hand, so trying to build anything or get out there in the garage and build stuff, I can't do it. They basically said if I damage what they've done, the operation to repair the damage will be almost equivalent to having an amputated limb put back on without having the obviously the bone reattached. So it's, you know, the damage I did to my arm's pretty severe. So I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos and been watching a lot of you guys building these homemade tumblers for stripping rust off bolts and polishing and all that sort of stuff, and I usually use the vinegar method, white vinegar method. Love it, works great for me every time. But I thought, okay, you know, you might build one of these tumblers too, you know. So the other day I went up to, I had somebody take me up to local shopping centre to do some shopping. I walked into Kmart and found this big 15.1 litre pot, which I thought would work out really good. It's stainless steel, it's got a glass lid on it. They wanted $16 for it, except it had a broken handle on it. And went up and asked them what they, you know, if they would sell it cheaper to me, having a broken handle, and I got it for half price. So I got that stainless steel pot for $8. I figured that better go stainless steel, because this is something that I'm going to use into the future. Anything you make out of a plastic bucket, like I've seen on YouTube, eventually, from using any type of media, it's gonna wear through eventually. So I've gone and bought this pot, and the beautiful thing about this, don't mind my budgies flying around the house, if that showed up in the footage then. The beautiful thing about this pot is it has a handle on each side, so I don't need to have a large shaft coming up from the bottom of the pot like you see in most people's videos. And please excuse the shakiness of the camera. I'm trying to hold this with my left hand, which don't really work that well at the moment. So most people, what they'll do is, in the bottom of the container or pot that they're using, they'll run a shaft all the way to the top here. Then they'll put a lid on that has a hole in it, and then they'll put a washer and a nut on. I don't need to do this with that pot. The lid goes on, and all I'm going to do is use an octopus strap, elastic stretchable strap. I don't know what you guys call it in some parts of the world, but we just, in Australia, we just refer to it as an Ocky strap. Clip on there, go around the handle once and down there, and that'll hold the lid in place. No fuss, it's easy. Because it's a glass top, I can see what's going on inside. I will need to run a bolt inside because I need to put a funnel in there. And I've ordered a funnel. Come for a little walk with me into my study. I've ordered this stainless steel funnel. Didn't want to run a plastic one, didn't want to run a galvanized one inside it. Found a stainless steel funnel for $5, delivered free from Hong Kong. Love getting stuff out of Hong Kong. So that'll be here in a couple of weeks. Not that it matters because I can't do anything anyway. So, as what most guys do, is they'll cut the spout off. The shaft will be mounted to the bottom. Whoops, sorry about the camera. The shaft will be mounted to the bottom of the container somehow, whether they've drilled a hole through the bottom or they've welded it in, and it comes up through the cone. They put a washer on top and they put a nut on top. Well, that's exactly what I'm going to do, but I don't need to run that shaft as high as the lid because I've already got a fastening system for the lid. So once my funnel goes in there, everything will be stainless steel. This thing should outlast me. That's a little bit of an example. That's only a 6mm nut and bolt with a washer. I can go something a little bit heavier than that. This is just something I pulled out of my bolt bin just for the demonstration of the video. Put that, I'll drill a hole into the bottom and bring that up through, and that'll hold the funnel in place. The good thing about this is it has the has a square retainer, I guess you'd call it, on it, because it's supposed to bite into wood. But if I can pull up hard enough on this bolt, once I've drilled the hole, it should pull itself into the hole and lock itself in place. So I don't have to screw around with anything. Now, as a vibrating device, I have a spare third sheet sander in the garage. It's an old Skill one, made in the USA, but this thing's in mint condition and I don't want to sacrifice it, to be honest. And I've got my Makita in there, which is an absolute beast, and I'm not sacrificing that either. But many years ago, I bought this orbital polisher from one of the local auto shops. Gave it a go on the car. It's absolutely useless. As a polisher, it's useless. They tended to think it was okay because they gave you a 2-year warranty on it, but didn't matter what polish I used, what pad I used on it, it was no good. So I've decided to sacrifice this. It's got variable speed control on it too. It's very quiet, and it's already got an on and off switch. Plugs directly into 240 volt, so there's no screwing around with power converters and stuff like that. So all I've done, and I can't really show you much more than I'm going to show you now because I can't pull it apart with one hand, but all I've done is I've taken off that bottom pad, as you can see, and I do apologise about the camera work again. Just taken that off, just got the scraper in behind it, and scrape that pad off, and seems to be a lot of nuts and bolts, or lots, sorry, I should say screws, or bolts, not nuts and bolts, but there's a few around here. I think there's 6 in total. Looks like in order to get this plate off, I have to get these out, and in order to get these out, I think I have to take all the screws out of the casing and split the casing in order to get to those bolts or screws in the bottom there. Once that comes off, it's got an eccentric fixing on the bottom, so that will create the vibrating motion that I need to get this pot shaking. And if I can do it, I'm going to have to refilm this, I know it. I can get this sitting up there somehow. Everything falling to pieces. So that's fairly compact, and everything's all in one. It's got all the switch and everything on it. So once this comes off, I can then attach that to the bottom of this, and then we're done. See the risks of filming with one hand? Like our good tough American oak floor, hey? So yeah, that's my little project for the next couple of weeks, is basically just to accumulate the parts I need for this thing, and I'll put it together and try and find somewhere that sells media. You'd be surprised here in Australia. Nobody in Australia sells this stuff on eBay. It's either got to, if you're looking for it on eBay, you've either got to buy it out of the States, or you've got to, if you're lucky, you can find some types of media in Hong Kong. Buy it out of Hong Kong or China. You know, I'm just going to have to do a round of the tool shops here. Find people that actually sell, you know, sandblasters and, you know, tumblers and stuff like that, and see if they stock it. You know, the supply of stuff in this country is just getting to the point where you just can't buy nothing anymore, because we don't make anything here anymore. Everything's gone overseas. The most simplest things, you know. I've seen some of your videos, and you know, you've been using everything, even overseas, when you've got readily available all these types of different media compounds. You're still using things like you know, corn kernels and stuff like that you buy for hamsters and rabbits. You're buying that from pet shops for about $5 a bag or something. I've seen someone use kitty litter as an abrasive. It didn't get high ratings though, because it left dust on everything. So yeah, I'm just going to have to do a little bit of hunting around, see if I can find myself, you know, a 10 or 20 kilo bag. From what I've seen, most of them are in 20 kilo bags, so I might get stuck with a lot of media that I don't need. But if that's the case, that's the case. One other thing I want to show you is something I did buy for the Studebaker, which arrived the other day. Now, see if I can get some light in here. This is a junk room at the moment. Poor old back of this house collapsed, and the slab broke, and we're in the process of getting contractors in to quote up on getting it all fixed and getting it all level again. So at the moment, all the furniture's been stripped out of it, but it's ended up just being a junk storage room at the moment. So yeah. Anyway, bought these electric window mechanisms. I bought 2 of them. They're out of a 1995 Jeep Cherokee. They're the rear window regulators. I picked them up $50 a piece from the same supplier, from the car wreckers. Delivered for $14, which is really good, really cheap. They've got a nice flat profile on the motors, as you can see. They had a straight shaft, which is what I need on the Studebaker, with it having flat glass in it. The only problem is with the travel, I'm probably about 10 millimeters too short of the window going all the way up. So what I'm going to do is on this bottom bracket here, I'm going to grind these pins off, which hold this bracket in place. And as you can see, I've got more than 10 millimeters of straight bar left there. So I'm just going to move this whole bracket down, and that will give me the travel that I need. Because it's cable driven, it shouldn't be an issue. So yeah, for $100 I've ended up with both my power window regulators, and now I'm just looking for one more for the back window of the cab, which I want to make into an electric window as well. I want that to be a powered window. There's a few more of these from 90, 94, 95 Cherokees on eBay at the moment. They're wanting $99 for them. I figure I'm not going to pay $99 for one when I picked up both of them for $100. So obviously the going price for a 95 regulator is about $50, if that's the price a wreck is setting for it. So Joe Blow, private seller, I'm not paying him $99 when I know I can go to a Wreckers and buy these for $50. So that's been my week so far in regards to the Studebaker, but I'm looking at a whole heap of other stuff at the moment too. And just make our way back out to the kitchen. I'm not good at editing footage either. Okay, I've never really learned how to do it. Being a skydiving instructor, I mostly just film it, and there's somebody that that usually edits it up for us, so I don't spend much time with editing. So there's going to be lots of stuff that I repeat and lots of stuff that you go, oh God, he said that again. Well, that's just the way it is. You can watch it and like it, or you can watch it and hate it, or you can watch it and take something from it, and it's just there if you want to watch it. Now, a couple of other things. I'll take you outside actually. I'll give you a look at